You know what we know.
They'll get you.
Yep.
You know what we know. They are a horny bunch from what we've been told. We don't know that in particular, but we've just read that around places. Shout out to the dog. That's Apollo, right? I think I learned the name.
That is. Yes, it is, yeah.
How old?
He's born on Christmas. So he's not quite 4 months.
Way to go, Apollo. Welcome to the world,
He's
buddy.
a handful. He's a handful.
Hey, you have a puppy. That's a wild thing to have. You're a first-time free agent quarterback, and you have a puppy. Let's dive in.
Yeah.
Okay, so being a dog dad has been a massive piece of your life, I assume, over the last few months. As of April 17th, where do we kind of sit in your world right now? How is everything kind of gone? Because there has been a lot of things projected and said about what you're doing, what you're thinking, where you're at. Where are you at right now on April 17th as a human, we shall say?
I'm in Malibu looking at the dolphins.
Yeah, yeah, you get it. Mindset. You understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying.
Listen, I live kind of a quiet life. If it weren't for my buddy Tim and my sister Mia, I wouldn't hear about a lot of the bullshit that's out there.
Nice.
But Mia finally said, listen, you got to go on the show and just set some of these ridiculous rumors and all these people who said they're close to me, sources, just set them straight, because there's been a lot of bullshit out there. And again, 90% of it I wouldn't hear about if it wasn't for Mia or Tim. So shout out to both of them, because I'm sure they're watching. But yeah, it's been an interesting break for me. Yeah, it's been hanging out, working out, hanging out with Apollo, and enjoying my time.
Okay, so I'm assuming that Tim and Mia, shout out, and thank you for watching if they are watching, and thank you for joining us to clarify some things. I assume what they're alluding to is all the different reports about what your football future kind of is going to look like. Over the last 2 months, we'll say, since free agency kind of started, it's been a lot of buzz. You're holding teams hostage with not giving them an answer. You're waiting out for another place. Or you might end up back staying at home in New Jersey for the Giants. Is there anything you kind of want to set straight here off the top as we dive into a lot of these conversations that have been happening about you that maybe you haven't been participating in at all over the last couple months?
Yeah, I'll set it all straight. I have no problem. Listen, from the jump, it's, I'm in a different phase of my life. I'm 41 years old. I'm in a serious relationship. I have off the field stuff going on that requires my attention. I have personal commitments I made, not knowing what my future was going to look like after last year, that are important to me. And I have, a couple of people in my inner circle who are really battling some difficult stuff. So I have a lot of things that are taking my attention, and have beginning in really January, away from football, and that's been where I've been focusing most of my attention on. To make a commitment to a team is a big thing, whether you're a first-year player or a 20-year vet. And I had a lot of great conversations with a lot of teams. Not one of those was the Jets, because that wasn't a great conversation.
We heard. So that was an accurate report. Okay, got it. Okay.
That was not an accurate report. We can get into that in a second. But
okay.
But I had some good conversations. But I've been upfront with all of them. I don't have anybody, working on my PR staff. Like Mia is the head of my PR. She tells me what the hell's going on if I need to know anything. I don't have any leaks. I have a very tight circle. I'm not out there putting shit out just to put shit out. That's just not how I operate. There's been a lot of people assuming they have information about me that's just not true. I've been straight up with these teams from the start about where I was at, starting with the money thing. I told every single one of the teams I talked to, it ain't about the money. I play for 10 M's. I don't care. I never once said I need a multi-year deal, $30, $40 million. It's absolute bullshit. I said I play for 10. Yeah. whatever.
Well, I thought you were a selfish prick. I thought that's what it was. I just saw a guy sign for 60 million or 55 million or whatever. You said you'd play for 10 million. Okay, so you saying you would play, that means you are thinking, is retirement still on the field? Like, where are you whenever it comes to like playing or not playing? Playing for 10 million, by the way, makes it very easy for a lot of teams to be able to accommodate you. What does that mean?
Well, that's what I told them in March. In the beginning, in the very beginning, you can ask any one of the teams I talked to. That was the conversation. But also the conversation about where I was at in my personal life, the stuff I'm dealing with off the field, in my inner circle. That has to take my attention right now. And so I wasn't, stringing anybody along. I wasn't holding anybody hostage. I was honest from the jump about where I was at mentally. And some of the constraints that I have in my life right now that warrant my attention. So yeah, I'm open to anything and attached to nothing. So yeah, retirement still could be a possibility. But right now, my focus has been and will continue to be on my personal life. And that's what I've told the coaches. There's still conversations that are being had. And, so it's all been very honest lines of communication. I've really appreciated the time I talked to the various teams. But there's been a lot of narratives that have not been anywhere near accurate. Starting with the Jets, continue with something I just read about, me pitching something to the Vikings. I know Ben, I only know this again because of me. Ben was on the show talking about me waiting around for the Vikings. That's not accurate either. I know I'm sure a lot of sentiment from both Packer fans, even maybe Vikings fans about certain things, but no. I've known Kevin forever. I've known Kevin O'Connell since we used to work out at Fitness Quest 10, I think it was called, in San Diego County, in North County. I've known him for 17, 18 years, and we got a good friendship. So we talk outside of just, this off season. We keep in touch during the season. So we've had good communication. And
we're getting right to it.
Government shut them down.
The government just shut down your internet right there. We heard it. The NFL just shut down your internet there for a second. But let's talk about.
Now we're back. We're back.
Okay,
Yeah.
So Ben Roethlisberger hypothesized, which is what a lot of people have been doing, because a lot of people assumed that a decision would have already been made in whether you're going to play football, who you're going to play football with, especially with the draft looming and free agency coming and going. I think you saying that there's a lot going on in your personal life that needs your attention, and I think you've told me a little bit more about that. I think if everybody kind of understood what was going on, I'm not saying you need to tell anybody's story, but it's like
But they don't need to. They don't need to. I don't need my personal life's my personal life, and I don't need to dive into there's a sensitivity around some of the stuff that's going on for sure, and it's very important to me. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of silly narratives out there. I'm sure people are assuming I've been sitting in a hole in the ground contemplating, or maybe down doing ayahuasca somewhere. I actually haven't done any of that. Nothing's on the horizon. Haven't been doing any of that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I clap or not. Yeah, because it sounds like mentally you don't need it. Because remember, we only did those things whenever we were trying to find clarity.
medicine.
We're trying to figure things out. So that.